Hey everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are gonna hop right into phase one. If you guys remember from the last video, phase one is gonna be me just sharing my experience, my unconventional experience with you guys. I'm gonna be touching on my university experience, moving out west, and I wanted to focus this video mostly on my camp experience to kind of give you guys a transparent view of what I went through. A lot of people don't really know what that looks like, and that's completely fair. So I'm here to share my experience. It's gonna kind of be an introduction video here. So if you guys want any more questions in regard to what I'm talking about, just let me know. I just don't want to go into too much detail without, you guys wanting to see that, because it'll probably be somewhat boring. So before we jump into that, I just wanted to say thank you so much for everyone. You've shown me so much support on my first video. It's been incredible. I'm still on cloud nine, so thank you so much. Let's jump right into phase one. Okay, so phase one. I should have probably did one. Okay, so we're gonna jump right into when I graduated high school. I decided to go to university right away. Me and my best friend, she actually had shown me a university. It's in a small town in New Brunswick. I'm not gonna say exactly where, but I'm sure a lot of you know where. So yeah, I jumped on that wagon, went to university, and essentially didn't really know what I was doing. I had always been interested in like science and business, but again, I was never exposed enough to really understand what that means. So my first year, I took all science courses. Ooh, wasn't the best idea. Failed some courses. Not a proud moment, but that's okay. So first year was science, and then I started to get into econ, those kind of business classes, your intro classes, and I just went for it. Like as soon as I took my first economic class, I was invested 100%. So that was really cool. It was the first time I've ever had, a connection to a subject. I've never been one of those people that knew what I wanted to be. My mom's always been an entrepreneur. She's always been, a boss in that sense, but I had never really known what I wanted to do and how I wanted to transition that into my own life. So once I actually felt that connection naturally, I was super, super excited. So I touched on a lot of, like I said, economic courses. I also did a lot of psychology courses, and I really was super interested in all of that. A little background about myself. I have dealt with a sick parent my whole life. My father was chronically ill. He had fallen off a ladder when he was 25, so he was kind of the stay-at-home dad my whole life. My mom worked, so that's unconventional. And yeah, he was in chronic pain his whole life. He was an amazing father, but again, his health kind of declined year after year. So during my second and third year, there was a lot going on at home. I had a lot of heavy emotion on top of my school experience. So although it was great, I was kind of in this fog of just going through the motions, and just my head was never 100% in school. It was always, I was 2 hours away from home, so it was a lot of guilt, a lot of torn feelings of I want to do this, and I feel like I deserve to be in university and better myself, but my dad is deathly ill, and I don't know how to deal with that because I'm literally 19. So I had gone my second year, and then literally my third year, I get goosebumps. August 21st, my dad passed away. And I decided a week after that to go back to university. So I had literally dealt with it for a week and said, you know what, I just need to get away from this. I just couldn't deal with it. I honestly didn't even think it was real, as weird as it sounds. So I went back to my school for a year. I had taken a lot of marketing courses, I believe, and just other business courses that really interested me. But again, I was kind of, I wasn't really paying attention. It was just, again, going through the motions. So after my third year, I decided, you know what, this is not what is supposed to happen. I'm wasting my money. It hits you after a year of for me personally it did, and I was like, you know what, I have to stop wasting my money, and I have to put my head down and figure out what I need, what I want. And I made the decision that my education was going to take a back seat to, my career, in the sense I didn't know what to do. I knew I couldn't focus on school. So I was working a part-time hostess job, and I'm like, this is just not working for me. So I had ended up actually making the decision to move to Alberta, Canada. And that decision obviously was not easy. I had basically left my mom and sister in Halifax, and I had gotten on a plane and moved out west. So that brings me to, living in Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta. It's a small town, probably 40 minutes north of Edmonton. So I ended up working at a daycare for 2 years, and then I had had basically said, you know what, I need to get into the business world. I wanted to get into kind of an admin position. So through my connections, I ended up finding someone who was able to give me that. And I started to work for a transportation company. And basically my role there was just kind of transitioning all their physical files to like an online database. And anyway, it was kind of a makeshift job. I'm not gonna get into that job. It was terrible. Anyway, I don't wanna get in trouble from them, but it was just not a good time. So I worked there for, I believe, almost a year, and I was working at the daycare as well. So I was always kind of like 2 or 3 jobs. There was literally one point I had 3 or 4 jobs. You gotta do what you gotta do. You don't finish university, you gotta get right in there and make your money. So basically from this admin job, I was offered a job up north. I really want to touch base on my Fort Mac experience, and that is really the point of this video. I had gotten this job offer basically through a friend, and I had said no twice. The camp experience, I've heard, yeah, you hear a lot of stories, and sometimes it's hard to kind of make your own decision because a lot of people are, you know, this, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I was really torn. The money was great, but I was like living on a camp, like I've heard stories and it's not great. It took me a while to make a decision. Basically, I hated the job I was in, so I said, I need change, I need more experience, let's go. So I accepted the job. Basically, I'm just gonna share my experience with you guys and go through what I needed to be on camp and what it kind of looked like. I've been to 3 camps, and again, I will get into that. So the first camp I went to was called Fort Hills, and it's under Suncor. So if you look it up on Google, I'm sure you can find pictures of it. I wanted to insert pictures in this video, but you're actually not allowed to take pictures on site, so I can't do that. But basically, yes, it's a campsite, and you basically get flown into camp, you take your bus to your actual camp, and then that's where you stay. My rotation was 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So that means for 2 weeks, we have a condensed work week. I was responsible for working 12 to 15 hour days, and then you would be off for 2 weeks. So it was a pretty sweet rotation. Kind of daunting, but once you're into the routine, like it's fine. I ended up working like months and months at a time. So again, like I said, once you're in the mentality of like, just do it, it becomes a little bit easier. Before I went to camp, I had to get my first aid. I had my first aid from the daycare, but I think I had to take, there was another course. So I had to update my first aid and take my H2S training, which is basically just all these like toxic chemicals on site and how you deal with that. So there was 2 requirements, I believe, for that. And then we had to have like a pee test, and it needed to be clean. Those are the things that you need before you get to site. This might be kind of boring for some of you, but again, I just want to make it very transparent in case you're looking to do something like this, because I didn't have anyone to guide me through it, and it's very daunting. So you get your plane ticket, you show up at the airport. I flew out of Edmonton, and basically in the Edmonton airport, there was a Suncor wing where you would go and you would like sign in through there. So you'd have your itinerary, you'd show them, and then you're going through the airport, basically the same as any other flight. You might get a couple more searches than the normal person, but that's just, you know, protocol. So don't try and sneak anything because it's not worth it. So you show up to your terminal, you get on your plane, great. Where I was flying from, it was about a 40-minute plane ride. So then we would fly into an aerodrome, and an aerodrome is basically just a small airport, and it's located pretty much on site, if not an hour away from the site. You can fly literally right in, and then the bus takes you right to your camp. Once you get off at the aerodrome, your bags are taken. You don't take your bags. The bags are taken off the plane and put on this huge metal rack that's outside, and basically you are to find your luggage and then get on the bus that you're supposed to go on. Basically the buses would be in accordance to the camp you were staying at. Again, don't try and sneak anything up there because there's dogs everywhere. So a lot of times when our stuff was placed on that rack, there would be dogs literally searching it right away. So please don't try and pull any crap because it's just not worth it. I've just seen so many people try and sneak things in there, and they get caught every single time. So just don't do it. And when you're there to work, like, just go and work, you know? But anyway, that's not my business. So yeah, there's buses lined up here, and you get on the appropriate bus. So your buses go by camp. Once you get into the camp, you can't actually get into your camp unless you check in with the front desk. Of course, your contractor has to make everything work with the front desk. You have to have your reservations. I had a wicked, like, HR girl, Alicia, my girl, who was very, very good at explaining all this, so it wasn't as daunting as I expected. But again, yeah, it is a little bit much. So you show up, you have to tell them your name, blah, blah, blah. And then basically you can't get in until you get one of these. And this is your little badge that you wear around your neck, and this is how you get in and out of every single place in the camp. This is how they keep track of you, your meals, etc. So once you can get into the camp, you can go find your room. So basically how that works is, just think of a hotel. You're basically given a room number and a wing. So you would get, let's just say for instance, room 220 in wing C. You'd find wing C, go in, and your room's 220. And again, you can't get anywhere unless you have this badge. So this is your lifeline at camp, hence why it's on this lanyard, because you can keep all your tickets on it as well, like all your certifications. Obviously I didn't have many. Then you have your meal hall, which is actually called a cafeteria, but since I went to university, I can't not help but call it meal hall. And your meal hall basically allows you 3 meals a day. So you're allowed to go in 3 times and get a full meal. You're essentially only going to be going in twice for your breakfast and your supper, because we would go in for breakfast, get our lunch in the bag up room, and then go to camp, go to work, and then basically you would go back and get your supper, and that's it. This would get you in, and it's set up essentially like a cafeteria in any other place. So you have your sandwich bar, you have your pasta bar, you have your main dish, it's insane. Like, I still can't believe I was so lucky to get a job where you could eat steak every night for free. Like, and I'm talking like good steak. It blows my mind to this day. Then that brings you to your bag up room. So your bag up room is where you go and you get all your lunch stuff, all your snacks. If you want snacks back in your room, you are able to do that. Actually, I don't think you're able to do that, but if you're sneaky, anyway, ignore that. This is basically your bag up room. There's gluten-free options, there's veggies, fruit, sandwiches. Again, it's just, you have it made. Chocolate milk, anything you want. So that's your bag up room, and that's what you bring to camp with you. I forgot to mention about the rooms. So what your room will have in most cases is, you're always gonna have your bed, you're gonna have a TV, you're gonna have your wardrobe area, a desk, a phone, a lamp. Some camps have fridges in your room, which is wicked. And mine, I was lucky enough, the first camp I was in, we had our own washroom. So that was crazy, because a lot of camps you have to share your washroom. So from the bag up room, again, you're gonna go to your job site. So the bus picks you up at your camp, brings you to your job site, you go into your job site, put in your bag up lunch in the fridge, and then you get right to work. I believe a lot of people were there for 12 hours a day. So you, again, pack the stuff that you need, and then at the end of your shift, you go back on your bus and you are back in the cafeteria, and then you're basically to sleep. My shift was 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and then there was a shift from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So we were 24/7 operations. I didn't really get into what I was doing, so I was dispatched. So we had over 200 buses, over 200 staff that we were responsible for managing day in and day out. We would be responsible for taking everyone on site from their camp to work, from work to camp, from camp to the aerodrome. It was everywhere that they needed to go. Sometimes we'd bring them into Fort Mac. So we were responsible for all that stuff. Mind you, when we would have 200 buses running at a time, it can get pretty hectic, but it was the best experience of my entire life. This experience really, for me, especially at the age, I was like 23, 24, it really, really made me grow in the way that I needed to. So it was amazing, and I am forever grateful for that experience. It was unreal, and I've met the best people in my life from that job. So it's a really cool experience. So yeah, I covered what your work looks like. I wanted to mention as well, in your camp, usually there's a gym, there is like a convenience store as well, because of course if you don't remember to bring everything, you need soap or whatever, and then if you want to throw down the Doritos, you can just go buy those. Lottery tickets on payday, it is whatever you need. And then of course there's gyms. I was lucky enough to be in pretty much all my camps had a girls only section, so that was really comforting as well. There would be like a ping pong room. The first camp I was in, you can look it up, it's called Robson on Fort Hills. It was unreal. It was the best camp ever. It was newly made. It was beautiful. So we really had like the best of the best. There was a movie room, golf simulator, ping pong room. It was unreal. By the way, I am a ping pong master, so add that to the resume. That was my first experience up north, and of course I could get into so much more, but I don't want to bore you guys. So yeah, this is your badge that you are going to need for literally everything, and don't forget that. I wanted to mention the 2 other camps that I worked at because I worked there for about a year and a half, and then I'd done a shutdown at another site. Basically what a shutdown is when they close the plant for cleaning, so it's for maintenance. So they get everyone to come up for a set amount of time. I was there for 12 weeks straight. You don't go home, you stay there the whole time and you work. We were lucky enough on that site that we were able to take a bus into Fort McMurray. So my schedule there was 6 days on, 1 day off. I worked a split shift, so I'd work the morning, I'd have a break in the afternoon, and then work at night as well. On our day off, we would be able to go into Fort McMurray. That would just mean I would kind of, buy your snacks, buy whatever you need, and then the bus would bring you back. So that was kind of cool. That one was a little bit rough because, like I said, you're there for 12 weeks, but once you're in the routine, I would work in the morning, go to the gym, work at night, and then by the time you're off, you're exhausted, so you literally just go to bed. This camp was a little bit different, so they separated women from men. Basically, it was like women, men. And we all shared a bathroom. So on the first level, you'd share a bathroom, second, third. That was a different experience, but again, it wasn't bad. They're cleaned all the time. In that case, you might need to bring a couple more things. So bring your flip-flops, your shower flip-flops, all that kind of stuff because you're gonna need it. Some camps don't have towels as well. So you're just gonna have to do a little bit more research if you want to know that kind of stuff. But again, you're gonna learn pretty quick what you need and what you don't need. My first time showing up at camp, I had like a suitcase and a half, and all of these people were like, why do you need, I have my leather leggings, girls. Like leather leggings, lipstick, maybe don't wear that at camp. But again, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna embrace this experience and I'm just gonna go for it. So maybe don't do that, but you can if you want, I guess. It's just to each their own, let's just say. So yeah, I was at that camp for 12 weeks. And then I basically, my last round, I had done just a 2-week stunt at another camp. And that was just to cover someone's vacation. So I've been at 3 camps. So Fort Hills, Albion, and CNRL. And of course, these are all, you're gonna be able to find these on Google. I just can't personally upload any pictures of my own. So after my experience at 3 camps, that contractor was kind of out of opportunities for me. I wanted something different. I've always been that person that just needs to explore and see what I want. And that for me doesn't happen until I'm in the moment in that experience. So that's how I kind of like judge what I need, if that makes sense. So I decided, no, we're gonna move somewhere else. So I literally, right after that 2 weeks shutdown, I got an offer for a full-time position as like, it was kind of dispatch project management type thing. It was for a hydrovac company. And that was a great experience as well. That one was a little bit more intense in the sense I had a lot more responsibility. It was a lot more project management than it was dispatch. So it was a really cool experience. It was a week on, week off shift work, amazing. And I did that job for about a year. It definitely taught me a lot. Again, it ignited the business side of me. My business passion had never left me. I always knew I was gonna finish. I just had to go through all these experiences to get me to this point, and hindsight's 2020. I never could have jumped back into school without having, my Suncor experience, this experience, So it's crazy how that stuff kind of, in hindsight, you see it much clearer. So one day I basically just got fed up. I felt like I wasn't making the money I wanted. I wasn't getting the respect I wanted. I just was missing something, and that for me was school. I knew that I needed to finish, and no one could stop me. So I literally quit my job. Please don't listen to me unless you have a budget and you've planned for this. And in 2 weeks, I was driving the dart ski back to Halifax, which was about 5,000 kilometers, and I enrolled myself in university. I got home in October of 2019. I got a job in November. I worked full-time until January, and then from January till January, so January 2020 till January 2021, I've been in school full-time. I don't regret anything. It has been the best decision in my entire life. I wish I would have done it sooner. I know everyone says that. I have no regrets, absolutely no regrets. And now that I'm in my business program, I am flourishing. I always say to people, if you're not on the right track in life, it kind of seems like you're given all these obstacles, and it's like, why is nothing working out for me? This past year, I have gotten opportunity after opportunity. I have done amazing academically. It's insane. I've never had this luxury in my life to just kind of, flow through things and have them, in a sense, be easy to me. So I am forever grateful for that. It gives me goosebumps. I'm so lucky to be in this position and to be able to experience this. So yeah, I wanted to share all that with you guys because it doesn't matter. It does not matter how long it takes you to get from point A to point B. At point A, I was 19, I lost my father, I was a mess. I didn't know what to do with my life. I felt like everyone was judging me because I dropped out of university. I felt this small. It was the worst time emotionally for me in my life. Now I'm 27, I'm flourishing. I've been out of school for like 5-6 years and there's a hurdle, but at the same time, I've been given opportunities at this point in my life that I know I would have never gotten if, I didn't go through those growing pains. So your line does not need to be this. My line was this. And again, it's just me saying that no matter what, like, you can do it. The biggest thing that I've learned is just to believe in myself, trust myself, and really just know that my decisions are what makes sense to me regardless of what anyone says, because I'm 27, almost 28. I will be done my degree in April. And again, I can start my career before 30. I have all this experience that I can level on top of it. So again, I just don't want anyone to feel like you can't do it, because you can. I have literally gone from making minimum wage to eating the same supper for 3 days to being able to pay off my 30 grand student loan, pay my tuition for a year of like 25 grand at my school. And that's not me bragging. That is literally just to show you guys that if you want something, you just need to put your head down and you need to make it happen. I budgeted and was frugal and couldn't buy any new clothes, nothing, for 3 years. But now I'm in the position where once I graduate, I will have little debt. I've set myself up the best I can, and I have sacrificed a lot of my time. But again, if you want something, you can totally do it. So I'm gonna stop the video right here. Next video, we are gonna get into budgeting. I can't wait. I'm gonna bring you guys a budgeting template that you can follow. It doesn't matter how much you make. It does matter on your mentality and how much discipline that you can put into yourself, instill in your habits. I'm not saying cut out all your bad spending habits. I'm saying if you're spending $20, we're gonna bring that down to $4 or $5. And again, it might be uncomfortable, but if you have a goal in mind, you can do it. And once you start saving and once you guys start putting your money in places where it's visual, it cuts out all the money anxiety. It lets you know your clear goals. And once you see those goals happening, you're gonna get a fire within you and nothing is gonna stop you. So I am here to help you guys with that. I feel like my experience and my downfall from failing classes, wasting my money, to now paying that off and being a straight A student, you can do it. Like, you can do it, we can do it. So next week is gonna be budgeting, and once we get into that, I'm gonna start touching on, pension plans, savings, RSPs. And again, I'm not preaching to you guys, do this, do that. I'm basically just explaining what these things mean. And if you feel comfortable doing it, you should totally do it. If you don't, you don't. So that's what next week is gonna look like. And again, I thank you guys so much for watching my videos. It means so much to me. If you want any more detail or any more discussion on what I mentioned in this video, just let me know and I will totally bring that to you guys. So thank you so much. Have a good day. It's not for me to say.